My name is Harris McLean. I am 58 years old and I own a chain of sporting goods stores in Miami. I have two children. My son Cole, who is 32 and works with me in the business as a purchasing manager, and my daughter Bridie, who is 28 and lives separately at my expense. 6 months ago, I buried my wife Elaine, who died of cancer at the age of 55 after a 2-year battle with the disease. Now I live alone in our house in Coral Gables, where I am cared for by our maid, Consuelo, who has been with us for 15 years. Sitting at the dinner table at 6:30 in the evening, I looked at the plate of grilled salmon that Consuelo had brought me. The fish was cooked exactly as Elaine liked it, with lemon, rosemary, and thin slices of orange. Consuelo still cooked according to her recipes, as if hoping it would help me cope with my loss. I took a small bite and felt the familiar bitterness in my throat. Not from the food, but from the memories that flooded back like a tide. Elaine always sat across from me, with Bridie usually to her right and Cole to her left. Even when the children grew up and moved away, she continued to set the table for four, hoping they would come over for dinner uninvited, as in the old days. Sunday dinners were especially important to her. She would roast a joint, bake an apple pie, and bring out the best china. Now 3 chairs were empty, and I mechanically chewed my fish, staring out the window at the pool that no one had used in months. Elaine loved to swim in the mornings. Every day at 6 in the morning, she would go downstairs in a bikini that still looked good on her, even at 55, and swim 20 laps. I would watch her from the bedroom window sipping my coffee and think how lucky I was. She had kept her figure despite having two children, and the gray strands in her dark hair only added to her charm. When illness took her strength away, the pool was the first to be emptied. "Senor Harris, would you like to turn on the TV?" asked Consuelo as she cleared the table. "There's a good travel program on." "No, thank you." Consuelo was a woman of about 45, short and plump, with kind brown eyes. She had come from El Salvador and had been working for us since Brady was in high school. Elaine treated her almost like a sister. They would chat for hours in the kitchen, discussing recipes, TV shows, and women's issues. After his wife's death, Consuelo became the only person in the house who tried to maintain some semblance of normalcy. The silence in the house became my constant and unwanted companion. Elaine used to talk about her activities at dinner, her volunteer work at the animal shelter, her meetings with her book club friends, her plans for the weekend, what movie she wanted to see. I was used to her voice, to the way she laughed at her own jokes, to the way she always found a reason for optimism, even in bad news. Now the only sounds were the ticking of the old clock on the wall, which we had inherited from her grandmother, the noise of the air conditioner, and the distant hum of cars on the highway. After dinner, I went up to the bedroom and lay down on my side of the bed. Elena's side remained untouched. I didn't even remove her pillow, rearrange the bedside lamp, or touch the stack of books she hadn't had time to finish reading. Her perfume, bottles of expensive cream, and the silver comb I gave her for our 20th wedding anniversary were still on the dresser. Sometimes at night, I thought I could smell her favorite perfume, a light floral scent with hints of vanilla, but it was just self-deception, a cruel trick of the imagination. The doctor prescribed me sleeping pills after I came to him exhausted from insomnia, but I rarely took them. Dreams about her were even more painful than insomnia. In them, she was healthy, laughing, alive, and every awakening was a new loss. It was better to lie awake, counting the hours until dawn, when I could get up and go about my business. At 6:30 in the morning, I was already at the office as usual. The habit of getting up early had remained from the days when I was just starting my business and working 14 hours a day. My office was on the third floor of a shopping center in Doral, overlooking the parking lot and other stores in our chain. Over the course of 25 years, I had built a decent business, 7 locations throughout the southern Miami-Dade County, from Homestead to Aventura. Nothing spectacular by Florida standards, but enough to provide well for my family, buy a house in a prestigious neighborhood, and set aside enough for a comfortable retirement. I started with one small store in a shopping center in Kendall. Elaine was working as a secretary at an insurance company at the time. We rented a 2-room apartment and dreamed of having children. She supported all my ideas, even the riskiest ones, and believed in me more than I believed in myself. When I wanted to take out a loan for a second store, she agreed without hesitation to put up the apartment as collateral. When Cole was born, she quit her job to take care of the family and never complained about money again, Even though the first few years were difficult, Cole came in around 9 holding a tablet with reports. My son inherited his mother's neatness and punctuality, qualities that I myself did not always find easy to achieve. When I was younger, I was more impulsive and made decisions based on my emotions. Elaine taught me to think twice and weigh the pros and cons. Sales in Kendall are down 12%, Cole said, sitting down across from my desk. I think it's because of the new competitor across the street. It's a big store with a bright sign and aggressive advertising. What are their prices? 20% lower than ours for running shoes, 15% lower on children's clothing. They're probably operating on minimal profit margins to attract customers. I nodded as I looked at the numbers on my tablet screen. Business required constant attention and quick responses to market changes. But in recent months, I had found it difficult to focus on numbers and strategies. Elaine always said I worked too much and held family meetings, demanding more time for us to spend together. Now work was the only way to avoid thinking about the emptiness at home, about the fact that there was no one left to complain about my absence. We'll lower the prices on popular models, I decided after a pause. Better to have less profit than to lose regular customers. And launch an advertising campaign on social media, emphasizing personal service. Cole recorded my decision on his tablet and got up from his chair. "Dad, how are you feeling?" he asked, and I heard the same intonation in his voice that Elaine used when she asked about my well-being. "Maybe you should take some time off." "Let's go somewhere for the weekend," Tessa suggested, inviting you to a barbecue. "The twins keep asking about Grandpa. They want to show you how they've learned to swim." "We'll see," I replied, although I knew I was unlikely to agree. The children's laughter and family fun only intensified my loneliness, reminding me of what would never be again. Elaine adored her grandchildren, spending hours with them, reading stories and baking cookies. Ivy and Ethan were a source of endless joy for her, especially after the doctors said that Brita would most likely never have children. After lunch, I was sorting through supplier documents, comparing prices for a new collection of athletic shoes, when Dexter Regan walked into the office without knocking. My best friend looked impeccable as always. Light linen suit, tanned face, gray hair neatly combed back. At 60, he retained the energy and optimism of a 20-year-old, which sometimes annoyed me and sometimes made me jealous. "Harris, buddy, you look terrible," he said, plopping down in the visitor's chair and crossing his legs. "Thanks for your honesty. When was the last time you shaved your beard properly? And that suit hangs on you like a coat hanger." Elaine wouldn't recognize you. Dexter was right, and we both knew it. Over the past few months, I had lost about 7 pounds and had practically stopped caring about my appearance. Elaine always chose my clothes, took me to her hairdresser, reminded me when it was time to update my wardrobe. Without her, I had reverted to my bachelor habits, wearing the same thing until it was completely impossible. "Listen, I have a suggestion," Dexter continued, pulling an expensive pair of sunglasses out of his jacket pocket. "Tonight at the Fontainebleau Hotel, there's a charity reception for a children's fund. Senator Gomez's wife is organizing it. There will be a lot of decent people, good food, live music, and an open bar. Will you come with me?" "I'm not in the mood for social events." "That's exactly why you need to go. You're becoming a recluse, and that's not healthy. Elaine wouldn't want to see you like this, gloomy and unshaven." The mention of my wife made me wince. Everyone around me felt it was their duty to remind me of what Elaine would have wanted, as if they knew her better than I did. But Dexter was the only person I allowed such liberties. We had been friends for too long. "Besides," he added with a sly smile, "there will be lots of interesting people there. Maybe you'll meet someone." "Dexter, I'm not talking about a serious relationship, just normal human interaction. You remember what it's like to talk to people, right?" He leaned forward, his face serious. "Harris, I understand that you're hurting, but you can't sit in this office and at home forever. Life goes on, whether you want it to or not. I won't take no for an answer," he added, rising from his chair. "I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock. Put on something decent, shave, and try to look like a living person." After he left, I sat for a long time looking out the window at the parking lot where customers were loading their purchases into their cars. Dexter had known me for 30 years. We met in 1984 when he was just opening his first car dealership, and I was launching my first store. We were both young, ambitious, and a little naive. Our wives became friends even faster than we did. Elaine and Rose spent every weekend together, shopping, going to the spa, planning vacations together. Rose died 5 years ago from a stroke, suddenly and quickly. I saw how Dexter coped with his grief. He threw himself into his work, started traveling more, even had an affair with a young secretary. Elaine criticized him for it, saying he was betraying Rose's memory. Now I understood him better. If anyone could get me out of the house for something other than work, it was Dexter. He was the only one who didn't tiptoe around me, who wasn't afraid to tell me the truth to my face. At 5:30, I closed the office and drove home along the familiar route through Kendall and Pinecrest. Miami greeted me with its usual traffic jams, heat and humidity, which forced the air conditioner to run at full power. Consuelo had already left, leaving a note that dinner was in the fridge, chicken with rice and avocado salad. I went up to the bedroom and opened the closet. Elaine had bought me the dark blue suit 2 years ago for our 27th wedding anniversary. We were going to dinner at the French restaurant in South Beach, where we had spent our honeymoon. Back then, the suit fit perfectly, emphasizing the figure I maintained by playing tennis regularly. Now it was a little big, but it still looked decent. Next to the suit hung Elaine's black dress, which she never got to wear. She bought it for some corporate event, but she got sick and canceled her plans at the last minute. I couldn't bring myself to throw her things away. They reminded me that she was real, that our life together was not a dream. As I took a shower, I thought about how this would be my first outing since the funeral. Many people came to see us then. Business colleagues, neighbors, Elaine's friends from her volunteer organization, distant relatives I hadn't seen in years. Everyone expressed their condolences, offered help, and said the right words about what a wonderful woman my wife was. But then life went on. The phone rang less often, and the house was finally empty. Around 7, I called Bridie. My daughter lived in an apartment on Brickell Avenue overlooking the bay. I had bought the property as an investment, but it turned into a gift for my daughter. Bridie picked up after the 5th ring, and I could tell from her voice that she was lying by the pool on the roof of the building. "Hi, Dad. How are you?" "Fine, at work." "How are you, sweetie?" "Bored out of my mind. I've been lying by the pool all day, reading some romantic nonsense that Samantha recommended. Can you imagine the heroine falls in love with her boss? How cliché." Samantha was Bridie's best friend, another spoiled girl from a wealthy family. They went to spas together, dined at expensive restaurants, and spent their parents' money on shopping. "How about you?" "You sound better than usual." "I'm going to a reception with Dexter today." "A charity event." "Oh, that's great. It's about time you got out of the house. Mom wouldn't want to see you become a recluse, would she?" Bridie always knew how to find the right words, although I suspected there was some kind of request behind it. My daughter was a master of gentle manipulation, a talent she had apparently inherited from her mother. "Dad, since you're in such a good mood." She hesitated, and I braced myself for the inevitable. "I saw this handbag at Mercedes City. It's Chanel from the new collection, absolutely stunning. Classic style, will stay in fashion for years. True, it's expensive, but it's an investment in style." "How much?" I interrupted her. $4,200. "But think how long it will last. It's Chanel." I rubbed my nose, feeling a headache coming on. Bridie had never worked. After university, where she studied art history, she tried her hand at interior design for a while, then got into yoga and wanted to become an instructor, then photography, then decided she had a talent for painting. All these hobbies required significant investment, but only brought expenses. Elaine always defended her daughter, saying that she was looking for her path, that creative types need time. "Okay, I'll transfer the money to your card tomorrow." "Thanks, Daddy. You're just the best father in the world. I promise I'll take good care of it. Just try not to make purchases like this every week." "Of course, Dad." "I understand. By the way, maybe we could go somewhere on the weekend. We haven't seen each other in a long time." After the conversation, I went downstairs and poured myself a whiskey. A good scotch that Dexter had brought back from his last trip to Europe. The sun was setting outside the window, painting the pool golden. It was at this time of day that Elaine and I would usually go out onto the terrace, sit in wicker chairs, discuss the past day, make plans for tomorrow, and share our thoughts about the children, business, and life in general. Now those plans ended where her life had ended. in a hospital room that smelled of disinfectant and wilted flowers from numerous visitors. Dexter arrived at 7 sharp, as promised. I heard the sound of his Mercedes before he parked at the entrance. My friend had always been punctual, a quality I valued in business relationships, but sometimes found annoying in personal ones. "You look good," he said when I got in the car. "Almost human. Your compliments are as irresistible as ever." Dexter laughed and turned on the music. The car smelled of leather and his expensive cologne. We drove through evening Miami toward Miami Beach, and I looked out the window at the familiar sights: palm trees, neon signs, endless shopping malls. The city was going about its usual business, full of energy and bustle, and I felt like an observer looking at it all through glass. "Tell me about this reception," I asked. "It's an annual event to benefit a fund for children with cancer. It's organized by Martha Gomez, the senator's wife. Tickets cost $500, so the crowd will be decent. Usually about 300 people show up: doctors, lawyers, business people, politicians. Why do I need this? Because you've been sitting at home like a monk for 6 months. It's time to remind the city that Harris McLean is still alive." The Fontainebleau Hotel greeted us with marble splendor and a crowd of people in expensive suits and evening gowns. A jazz trio played in the spacious lobby, and waiters served champagne and canapes. I immediately recognized several faces: business colleagues, Elaine's acquaintances, neighbors. Some nodded to me from afar, but didn't rush over. Probably didn't know what to say. "See the tall brunette at the bar?" Dexter pointed to a woman in an elegant black dress. "I see her. Dr. Patricia Ramos, cardiac surgeon at Jackson Memorial. Recently divorced, 2 grown children. Smart, successful, good-looking Dexter. Just getting you up to speed." Food for thought. We took some champagne and headed to the main hall, where a buffet was set up. The organizers had gone to great lengths. The tables were decorated with white orchids, live music was playing, and large screens showed videos about the foundation's work. Children in hospital wards, doctors, parents with tears in their eyes. The usual set for such events. "Harris!" What a surprise. Gloria Ventura, the wife of the owner of a large restaurant chain, approached me. We had known each other for 10 years, meeting at various events. "Gloria, how are you?" "Fine, thank you. How are you holding up?" "Ricardo and I were very worried about you after—" She paused. "Thank you for your support. I'm slowly getting back to normal." "That's right. Elaine wouldn't want to see you sad. She was such a cheerful woman." Gloria talked for a few more minutes about the foundation's work, her children, her vacation plans, and then excused herself and went to talk to other acquaintances. Such conversations were inevitable. Everyone wanted to express their sympathy, but no one knew how to do it naturally. "Let's go to the seafood table," Dexter suggested. "They have oysters from Louisiana." We moved slowly through the room, stopping to talk to different people. Dexter introduced me to a couple of new acquaintances: the owner of a chain of fitness clubs and his wife, who organized weddings. The conversation was typical for such events, about business, real estate, gas prices. It was near the seafood table that I saw her. The woman was standing slightly apart from the main crowd, holding a glass of white wine in her hand. She was wearing a simple dark blue dress without any frills, but one that emphasized her slender figure. Her dark hair was gathered into an elegant bun, and her only jewelry was a pair of small pearl earrings. She was about 48, maybe 50, and she looked naturally beautiful, without the tension that often comes with women trying to look younger than their age. "Who is she?" I asked Dexter. "No idea, but you've been staring at her for 10 seconds. Don't exaggerate. Let's go introduce ourselves." Dexter walked decisively toward the woman, and I had to follow him. "Good evening," he said with a charming smile. "Dexter Reigen, and this is my friend Harris McLean." The woman turned to us and I saw her eyes. Gray-green, attentive, with slight wrinkles at the corners that suggested she laughed often. "Serena Walker," she introduced herself, shaking our hands. "Nice to meet you." "Is this your first time at this event?" Dexter asked. "Yes, my friend persuaded me." "She's a doctor at a children's hospital and participates in the organization every year." "And you?" "Harris has been supporting the foundation for 3 years," Dexter lied. "He has a big heart." I felt myself blushing. In fact, this was the first time I had heard of this foundation. That's wonderful, Serena said. Organizations like that do really important work. What do you do? I asked. I work as an administrator at a medical center in Coral Gables. Nothing heroic, just regular office work. Harris is from Coral Gables too, Dexter said. He owns a chain of sporting goods stores. Really? We must be neighbors and not know it. There was a pleasant warmth in her voice, without any affectation or coquetry. Serena spoke calmly, maintained eye contact, and didn't get distracted by other people in the room. I'll be nearby, Dexter announced with a meaningful smile. I want to find that heart surgeon you told me about. And he disappeared into the crowd, leaving us alone. Your friend is very active, Serena remarked. That's an understatement. Dexter considers it his duty to arrange the personal lives of all his acquaintances. And is he any good at it? So far, I'm his first project in that area. Serena laughed, and the sound of her laughter seemed strangely familiar to me, even though we had only just met. Then let's not disappoint him. Tell me about your business. We talked almost nonstop for the next hour. Serena turned out to be an interesting conversationalist. She read a lot, was interested in art, and had traveled to Europe several times. We discussed books we had read recently, talked about travel, and how Miami had changed in recent years. Do you like to read? She asked. I used to read a lot. Lately, I haven't had the time. I understand. Everyone has periods when it's difficult to concentrate on books. There was no curiosity or desire to find out more in her voice. She simply accepted my answer as a given, and that was nice. What are you reading? I'm rereading Hemingway. The Sun Also Rises. It's amazing how differently you perceive the same books at different ages. I agree. At 20, I read him for adventure. At 40, for philosophy. And now? Now, probably for the understanding of how people cope with loss. She nodded without asking any questions, and I felt grateful for her understanding. Have you ever been to Paris? Serena asked. Yes, several times. Have you? I was there last spring. I went alone, which turned out to be a wonderful decision. I could sit in a cafe in Montmartre all day, reading and watching people. And what were your impressions? Paris lived up to all my expectations. I especially like the small museums that aren't crowded with tourists. The Rodin Museum, for example. We talked about Paris, French cuisine, and whether it's worth learning languages in adulthood. Serena told me that she had started learning Italian and dreamed of going to Tuscany. I shared my plans to expand my business and open a store in Orlando. What about your family? I asked at one point. I was married, but I got divorced 7 years ago. I don't have children, which sometimes feels like a loss and sometimes like freedom. What about you? 2 children, already grown up. My son works with me. My daughter is finding herself. And your wife? She died 6 months ago. I'm very sorry. She said it simply, without undue drama, and put her hand on my shoulder. The touch was brief, but it conveyed sincere support. Thank you. Is it difficult to start over? Very. Sometimes it seems easier to just stop, but you're here. Dexter made me. He's a good friend. A waiter approached us with a tray of canapes, and we paused in our conversation. The reception continued around us. People laughed, clinked glasses, and exchanged business cards. A local singer was performing jazz standards on stage. He sings beautifully, Serena remarked. Yes, not bad. Do you like jazz? Very much. I have a large collection of records at home. It's old-fashioned, but I like the sound of vinyl. I have a record player too. My wife gave it to me a few years ago, saying that digital music has no soul. A wise woman. Yes, she was very wise. We listened to the music, occasionally exchanging comments about the performer, the other guests, and the decor of the hall. Serena didn't rush to fill every pause with words, which was a rare quality. Most people fear silence, considering it awkward. Harris! Dexter approached us with a satisfied smile on his face. How's it going, buddy? Have you gotten to know each other better? Dexter, let me formally introduce you to Serena Walker. We've already met, Dexter laughed. I introduced you. Your friend is very caring, Serena said. Caring is an understatement. He considers it his duty to control the lives of everyone he knows. And rightly so, Dexter said without embarrassment. Otherwise, you'd still be sitting at home eating canned food. The 3 of us talked a little more. Then Dexter disappeared again, saying he wanted to talk to the organizers about a donation. Serena looked at her watch. It's almost 11, she said. Time to go home. Can I walk you to your car? I'd appreciate it. We left the hotel into the warm Miami night. The parking lot was full of expensive cars, including several Maseratis and Porsches. Serena walked over to a modest silver Honda Accord. Not the most luxurious car in this parking lot, she remarked with a smile, but it's practical. Exactly. I'm not the type to buy a car to impress people. She opened the door but didn't rush to get in. It was very nice to meet you, Harris. Thank you for an interesting evening. Me too. Serena, maybe we could meet again. Have dinner somewhere. Go to a museum? I'd love to. She took her phone out of her purse and gave me her number. I entered it into my phone, double-checking the digits. Call me tomorrow or the day after, she said as she got into the car. I have a pretty open schedule. I'll definitely call you. She waved goodbye and drove away, leaving me standing in the parking lot, watching the taillights of her car disappear. For the first time in 6 months, I felt something other than sadness and emptiness. It was a strange feeling, like the sun suddenly coming out after a long winter. So how did the date go? Dexter asked, appearing beside me. It wasn't a date. Of course, of course. Just an acquaintance. Did you get her phone number? I did. Then mission accomplished. Let's go home, Casanova. On the way, Dexter asked me about Serena, gave me advice on the first phone call, and suggested restaurants for a date. I listened to him half-heartedly, thinking about the evening, about how easy it was for me to talk to a stranger, about how, for the first time in 6 months, time had flown by unnoticed. At home, I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. I lay in bed and remembered Serena's voice, her laughter, how she listened without interrupting, how she answered questions honestly without trying to impress. There was something soothing about her presence, a kind of naturalness that I had been sorely lacking lately. The next day, I called Serena 3 times, but each time I put the phone down at the last moment. Something was stopping me. Maybe the fear of seeming too pushy, or maybe just not being used to such conversations. In 28 years of marriage, I had never asked a woman out on a date. That evening, sitting in my home office with a glass of whiskey, I finally dialed her number. Serena Walker speaking. This is Harris. Harris McLean. We met yesterday at the reception. Of course, I remember. How are you? Fine, thank you. I'm calling to invite you to dinner. If you don't mind, of course, I'd love to. When were you thinking of meeting? Maybe tomorrow? Or the day after tomorrow? Whatever is convenient for you. Tomorrow would be perfect. What time? 7? I know a good Italian restaurant in Coral Gables. Sounds wonderful. What's it called? Giardino, on Miracle Mile. I can pick you up. Thanks, but I'd rather drive myself. Give me the address of the restaurant. I gave her the address. We agreed to meet at 7, and she hung up. The whole conversation took less than 3 minutes, but I felt like I had just run a marathon. My heart was beating faster than usual, and my mouth was dry. The next day dragged on forever. At the office, I couldn't concentrate on my work, constantly distracted by thoughts of the upcoming evening. Cole noticed my distraction. Dad, you seem strange today. Problems with suppliers? No, everything's fine. Just thinking a lot. About what? About various things. About life in general. Cole looked at me intently but didn't ask any more questions. He had inherited his mother's tact and ability not to pry when he could see that someone wasn't ready to talk. By 6:30, I was already at the restaurant. Giardino was one of my favorite places, a small establishment with a homey atmosphere, where the owner, Marco, an Italian from Naples, did the cooking himself. Elaine loved their ravioli with ricotta and spinach. We came here for wedding anniversaries, birthdays, or just when we wanted to be together. Serena arrived at 7 o'clock sharp, wearing a simple beige dress and a light cardigan. Her hair was loose, falling in soft waves onto her shoulders. She looked natural and elegant at the same time. Good evening, she said, sitting down at the table by the window that I had reserved in advance. Good evening. You look beautiful. Thank you. It's very cozy here. Have you known this place for a long time? Yes, I've been coming here for 10 years. Marco cooks like his grandmother in Italy. A waiter approached us, a young guy named Louis who had been working here for 3 years. He brought the menu and told us about the dishes of the day. Serena ordered a caprese salad and fish in white wine sauce, and I had minestrone and veal Milanese. Tell me about your job, I asked when the waiter left. Administrator at a medical center is a very broad term. I mainly coordinate the work of the doctors, keep the schedule, and deal with organizational issues. Nothing heroic, but I like it. I've been working there for 8 years, and before that, I studied to be a nurse and even worked in a hospital for a couple of years. Then I realized that administrative work suited me better. Less stress, more time for my personal life. And your personal life? Anam, I hesitated, not knowing how to delicately ask about what interested me. I'm divorced, Serena said calmly. 7 years ago, my husband and I got married early, at 22, thinking that love would conquer all. It turned out that it didn't. Did you have children? Unfortunately, no. We tried, but it didn't work out. That was one of the reasons for the divorce. Michael really wanted children, and so did I. When it became clear that the problem was with me, our relationship began to deteriorate. She spoke about it without bitterness, as if she were telling someone else's story. Do you have any regrets now? About the divorce? Number. We parted as friends, and we even talk on the phone sometimes. Michael got married a year after the divorce, and now he has 2 children. I'm genuinely happy for him. What about not having children? Serena thought for a moment, twirling a glass of wine in her hands. That's a difficult question. At 48, I don't think about it every day like I used to. But sometimes when I see young mothers with strollers or when my friends talk about their children, yes, it makes me sad. I understand. And you, I remember, have 2 children? Yes, Cole and Bridie. Cole works with me. He has a family, his wife Tessa and 2 5-year-old twins. Bridie, she's still trying to find her way in life. So she doesn't work. No, she doesn't. After college, she tried different things, but nothing stuck. She lives off me. Is it hard to support an adult child? Not financially, but sometimes I worry that my wife and I spoiled her. Elaine always made excuses for her daughter, saying she would find herself. Elaine is your wife? Yes, she died 6 months ago of cancer. Serena nodded sympathetically. You loved her very much. Yes, very much. We lived together for 28 years. That's very rare these days. You were lucky. Lucky to have lived together for so long, but unlucky that it ended so soon. The first courses were brought out, and we switched to lighter topics. Serena talked about her travels. She had traveled almost all over Europe, been to Japan, and dreamed of going to Australia. I shared my business plans and told her how I started with one store. What attracts you to the sporting goods business, Horn? She asked. To be honest, it was by chance. When I was younger, I played tennis and knew a lot about equipment. When it came time to choose a business, it seemed logical to sell what I knew. Do you have any regrets? No. The work brings in a steady income and allows me to provide for my family. It may not be the most creative occupation, but it's honest. Creativity is overrated. Consistency and reliability are more important. We ate and talked about work, about Miami, about how the city has changed in recent years. Serena was an easy conversationalist. She didn't ask overly personal questions, didn't try to impress, and shared her thoughts naturally and openly. Do you have any hobbies? I asked over dessert. I read a lot, go to the theater, sometimes paint with watercolors, although I'm not very good at it. I also have a cat named Oscar. I picked him up on the street 3 years ago, and now he's the rightful owner of the apartment. Elaine loved cats too. She said they understand people better than dogs. I agree. Cats don't pretend to love you for food. If a cat is attached to you, it means he really likes you. We stayed in the restaurant until 10 o'clock in the evening. The conversation flowed easily, and time flew by unnoticed. When the waiter brought the check, Serena tried to pay for herself, but I insisted that I had invited her. Thank you for a wonderful evening, she said as we walked out to the parking lot. Thank you. I really enjoyed myself. Maybe we can meet again? Definitely. I'll call you. She got into her car and drove away, and I stood in the parking lot, thinking that for the first time in 6 months, I had spent an evening without constantly thinking about Elaine. It was a strange feeling, like betrayal and liberation at the same time. In the weeks that followed, we met regularly. We went to the movies, walked along the Key Biscayne waterfront, and dined at various restaurants. Serena showed me a small gallery in the design district that exhibited the work of local artists. I took her to a tennis match where an old friend of mine was playing. Gradually, we got to know each other better. Serena turned out to be a person of steady habits. She got up at 6 in the morning, did exercises, and ate oatmeal with fruit for breakfast. On weekends, she went to the farmer's market, bought organic products, and cooked for the whole week. She read before bed, didn't watch TV, and listened to classical music while doing housework. "You're a very organized person," I remarked once. After the divorce, I had to learn to plan my life on my own. Before, my husband decided everything: where to vacation, what to buy, even what to cook for dinner. Now I'm responsible for my own decisions. Isn't it boring to live by a schedule? On the contrary, it gives me freedom. When routine tasks are automated, I have more time for interesting things. I liked her practicality, her lack of whims and unexpected demands. Serena didn't expect expensive gifts from me, didn't get upset if I canceled a date because of work, didn't try to change my habits. At the same time, she was an interesting conversationalist with whom I could talk about serious things. A month after we met, I realized I was falling in love. It didn't come as a sudden epiphany, but as a gradual realization that my days with her were easier, that I was waiting for her calls, that I was thinking about her before I went to sleep. For the first time in 6 months, the future no longer seemed like an empty formality. But with that came a feeling of guilt. Sometimes, lying in bed next to Elaine's untouched half, I caught myself thinking that I was betraying her memory, that I had found a replacement too quickly for the woman I had loved for almost 30 years. "You look better," Cole remarked one Monday. "You've lost weight. You're dressing better." "Jim, no, just trying to take care of myself." "That's good. Mom would be happy." We were sitting in my office discussing plans for the new quarter. Cole laid out sales charts, supplier proposals, and profit calculations on the table. "Cole, I need to tell you something." My son looked up from the documents. "I'm seeing a woman. We met a month ago at a charity reception." Cole was silent for a few seconds, thinking about what he had heard. "Is it serious?" "I don't know yet, but I feel good with her." "Then I'm happy for you, Dad. Honestly, you're too young to be alone." "How do you think Bridie will take it?" Cole grimaced. "Bridie, she might take it badly. You know she's always been very attached to Mom." "Yes, I know. But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your happiness for her feelings." That evening, I thought long and hard about how to tell the kids about Serena. Cole took it calmly, but he had always been level-headed, able to separate emotion from logic. Brandy was different, impulsive, emotional, prone to drama. The following week, I made up my mind. I called Cole first. "I'd like to introduce you to Serena. Maybe we could have a family dinner." "Sure, Dad." "When?" "Saturday? At Capitol Grill?" "Great. I'll tell Tessa, and we'll find a babysitter for the twins." It was harder to call Bridie. I dialed her number several times before I made up my mind. "Hi, sweetie." "Hi, Dad. How are you?" "Fine. Listen, I wanted to invite you to dinner on Saturday." "Great. It's been a while." "Just the two of us?" "No, Cole and Tessa will be there. And a friend of mine." "A friend?" Her voice sounded wary. "Yes. Her name is Serena. We've been seeing each other for a month." A long pause. "Seeing each other? What do you mean, dating?" "Well, we go to restaurants, to the movies, normal dates." "Dad, Mom died 6 months ago." "I know, Bridie. And you're already dating another woman?" I'm lonely. Serena's a good person. You'll like her." "I don't think so." "Bridie, please. Come on Saturday and meet her. It's important to me." Another pause. "Okay, I'll come. But I can't promise I'll be friendly." "Just be yourself." "I will." After talking to my daughter, I sat in my chair for a long time, staring out the window. I knew Saturday dinner would be difficult. Brandy wasn't good at hiding her feelings, and if she didn't like Serena, she would show it. And Serena was smart enough to sense the hostility, but there was no choice. Sooner or later, the kids had to meet the woman who was becoming an important part of my life. It was better to do it now while their relationship could still be explained as friendship. That evening, I called Serena and told her about my plans for Saturday. Are you sure you're ready? She asked. Meeting the kids is a big step. I'm sure. I want you to get to know each other. How did they react to the news that you have a girlfriend? Cole was calm. Bridie was wary. I understand. At her age, it's hard to accept that her father might be in a relationship with another woman. Yes, but I hope she'll understand. She'll like you, we'll see. The main thing is that the evening goes without a scandal. Serena was right. The main thing was to avoid a scandal. But something told me it wouldn't be that easy. Saturday evening began with me changing my shirt 3 times. The first one seemed too formal, the second too youthful, and the third was just right for a family dinner. I realized that I was more nervous than I had been before important business negotiations. Capitol Grill was one of the best steakhouses in Miami, a place where our family celebrated important events. Birthdays, graduations, promotions, everything happened at the tables of this restaurant. Elaine loved their crab salad, Cole always ordered ribeye, and Bridie preferred fish. I arrived first at 6:30 and asked for a table in the far corner of the room, away from the other diners. The last thing I needed was witnesses to a family drama, if it happened. Serena arrived at 6:45, wearing an elegant dark green dress and a pearl necklace. She looked flawless, but I could see a slight tension in her movements. How are you? She asked, sitting down next to me. I'm nervous, to be honest. Me too. The last time I met someone's children was 20 years ago, when I was dating a classmate at university. Everything will be fine. Cole is a calm guy, and Tessa is a nice woman too. And Bridie, well, Bridie can be difficult, but she's not mean. I hope you're right. Cole and Tessa arrived right on time at 7. My son looked neat as always. Dark suit, white shirt, ironed to perfection. Tessa wore a simple blue dress, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. They looked like the picture-perfect young family. Dad, Cole said, approaching the table. Cole, Tessa, meet Serena Walker. Serena, this is my son Cole and his wife Tessa. It's very nice to meet you, Serena said, standing up and shaking their hands. Likewise, Cole replied. Dad's told us a lot about you. I hope it was good, Serena smiled. Only good, Tessa confirmed. We're glad Harris has a girlfriend. Tessa hesitated slightly on the word girlfriend, apparently not knowing how to correctly define her husband's father's relationship with an unfamiliar woman. We sat down at a table and ordered drinks. Cole had a beer, Tessa had white wine, and Serena and I had a glass of red. The conversation was easygoing at first, about the weather, traffic jams, and renovations at the restaurant. Where's Bridie? Tessa asked, glancing at her watch. It's already 7:45. You know Bridie, I said. Punctuality is not her strong suit. She's always late, Cole explained to Serena. Mom said that Bridie was born 2 weeks late and hasn't been on time since. Serena laughed. How old is she? 28, I replied. 4 years younger than Cole. And what does she do? She's currently trying to find herself, Cole said with a hint of irony in his voice. Her latest passion is painting. Cole, don't be like that, I gently reprimanded my son. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. It's just that Bridie has been searching for her calling for 10 years. She tried design, yoga, photography, and now painting. Maybe she's just a creative person, Serena remarked diplomatically. Possibly, Cole agreed, but there was skepticism in his voice. At that moment, Bridie approached our table. My daughter looked stunning. A tight black dress, high heels, her hair styled in an elaborate hairdo. She was wearing the diamond earrings I had given her for her last birthday. Sorry I'm late, she said, but there was no remorse in her voice. The traffic is terrible. Bridie, meet Serena Walker. Serena, this is my daughter. Bridie. Serena stood up and held out her hand. It's very nice to meet you, Bridie. Your father has told me so much about you. Bridie shook her hand, but the smile on her face was forced. Likewise, Worm, and Dad hasn't told me very much about you. Bridie, I said warningly. What? I'm just stating a fact. A month ago, I didn't know Serena existed. The waiter brought the menu, and we paused in our conversation. I hoped Bridie would calm down, but I could see from her face that she was in a combative mood. So, Serena, Bridie said when we had ordered, tell us about yourself. What do you do? I work as an administrator at a medical center in Coral Gables. How interesting. Is your age a secret? Bridie, I said sharply. What's wrong with that? It's a normal question when you're getting to know someone. I'm 48, Serena replied calmly. Wow, almost the same age as my mom. My mom died at 55. An awkward silence hung over the table. Cole grimaced, and Tessa stared at her plate. Yes, your father told me about your loss. I'm very sorry. Thank you. Were you married? I was. I got divorced 7 years ago. Do you have children? Unfortunately, no. That's too bad. My mom really wanted grandchildren. She does have them, though. Ivy and Ethan from Cole. But I probably won't have any. The doctors say I have problems with my reproductive system. Bridie, why are you talking about this? Cole said. What's the big deal? We're getting to know each other, sharing information about our families. Serena remained calm, but I could see that it was difficult for her. Bridie, maybe we should talk about something else, I suggested. Sure, Daddy. Serena, how long have you known my father? A month. We met at a charity reception. How romantic. What attracted you to him? Bridie, stop it, I said. I'm just curious. Serena, don't mind Dad. He's always been overly sensitive. Answer honestly, what attracted you to him? Serena looked closely at Bridie, as if assessing whether to continue this game. Your father is an interesting conversationalist. He's smart, educated, and has a good sense of humor. Did the fact that he's a wealthy businessman play a role? Bridie, I exploded. What? I'm asking normal questions. Nowadays, many women are looking for financial stability. I'm financially independent, Serena said calmly. I have a job, an apartment, a car. I don't need financial stability from your father. Of course. Where is the apartment? What neighborhood? In Downey. Oh, that's not the most prestigious neighborhood, is it? What kind of car? A Honda Accord. Not a Mercedes or a BMW, Bridie remarked with a sly smile. Bridie, stop it right now, I said sternly. Dad, I'm just trying to learn more about your new girlfriend. Or what should I call her? Lover, mistress. Enough! Cole put his hand on my shoulder. Dad, calm down. Bridie, you're crossing the line. What line? My father buried his wife 6 months ago, after 28 years together, and now he's dating a woman who's clearly after his money. And I'm not allowed to ask questions? That's not true, I said. Serena isn't like that. Sure, Dad. All women your age meet men for their beautiful eyes and sense of humor, especially if the man is a widower with money. Serena put her glass on the table and looked intently at Bridie. Bridie, I understand that you're upset about your mother's death. I understand that it's hard for you to see your father with another woman, but your suspicions are unfounded. I'm not after your father's money. Oh, sure. Then what is it? Love at first sight? Mutual attraction. Mutual attraction between two lonely people. How touching. And the fact that Dad owns 7 stores and lives in a $2 million house didn't influence your attraction at all? Bridie, you're going to apologize to Serena right now, I said, struggling to contain my anger. For what? For telling the truth? Dad, wake up. This woman came into your life 6 months after Mom died. Don't you find that suspicious? What I find suspicious is that you're acting like a spoiled little girl who's afraid of losing her daddy's allowance. What did you say? What I said. You've been living off my money for 10 years. You don't work, and now you're afraid that someone might take your place. Bridie turned pale. How can you say that? I'm your daughter. And that's exactly why I didn't expect this from you. Mom raised you better than that. Don't you dare mention Mom. If she were alive, she would never have allowed you to date this gold digger. Apologize. Right now. I won't. I told the truth. Bridie got up from the table and grabbed her purse. Serena, it was very enlightening to meet you. Dad, when you come to your senses and realize you're being used, give me a call. She turned and headed for the exit in her high heels, attracting the attention of the other restaurant patrons. A heavy silence hung over the table. Serena sat upright, her face calm, but I could see she was struggling. Tessa stared at her plate, and Cole shook his head. I'm sorry, I said to Serena. I didn't expect her to be so rude. It's okay. I understand it's hard for her. That's no excuse for her behavior. Harris, maybe we should leave, Serena suggested quietly. No, we'll finish dinner. I won't let my daughter ruin our evening. Cole poured wine for everyone. I'm sorry about my sister, Serena. Bridie has always been emotional, and after Mom died, it got even worse. I understand. Losing a mother is a difficult experience for any daughter. Yes, but that doesn't give her the right to be rude, Tessa said. I'm ashamed of her behavior. Thank you, Tessa. We tried to continue with dinner, but the mood was ruined. The conversation was awkward, and everyone was thinking about what had happened. Serena held her head high, answered Tessa's questions about work, and asked about the twins, but I could see she was upset. After the main course, Cole pulled me aside. Dad, I need to talk to you. We moved to the bar. I'm sorry about Bridie. She behaved appallingly. Yes, she did, but I understand why. She's afraid of change. That's no excuse. Serena is a good woman, and you have a right to a personal life. Thank you, son, but listen to my advice. Give Bridie time to cool off. It's her birthday in a week. Maybe you should try talking to her then. Do you think she'll agree? I think so. Bridie loves you, despite all her quirks, and she loved Mom. Maybe if you explained to her that Mom would want to see you happy. We'll see. We returned to the table. Serena was talking to Tessa about the books they had been reading lately. We should probably go, Cole said. We need to pick up the kids from the babysitter. Of course. Thanks for coming. Cole hugged me and Tessa kissed me on the cheek. Serena, it was very nice to meet you, Tessa said. Don't mind Bridie. She'll get used to the idea that Harris has a personal life. Thanks for understanding. See you soon, Cole said, shaking Serena's hand. When they left, Serena and I were alone. How are you? I asked. Honestly? It's hard. I didn't expect such aggression. Bridie isn't always like that. She's upset about her mother's death. I understand. But Harris, I need to know, are you ready to defend our relationship from this kind of pressure? I am. I won't let anyone, not even my own daughter, decide who I date. What if she doesn't accept it? What if she continues to be hostile? Then that's her choice. I can't live my life to please my adult daughter. Serena nodded. Okay, then let's see how things unfold. We finished our wine and left. On the way home, I thought about Cole's words. Maybe Bridie's birthday really would be an opportunity for reconciliation, but something told me that my daughter wasn't going to give up so easily. The week after the scandalous dinner passed in tense anticipation. Brita didn't call, and I didn't dare pick up the phone first. Serena was understanding, didn't pressure me, didn't demand explanations or apologies for her daughter's behavior. But I could see that the incident had affected her. Maybe we should wait, she asked on Wednesday as we had dinner at a small cafe in South Beach. Give her more time? No, I replied. The longer we put it off, the worse it will get. It's her birthday on Saturday, which is a good opportunity to talk. What if she makes a scene again? Then at least I'll know where we stand. On Friday, I went to the jewelry store in Bal Harbour, where I had bought Elaine's gifts. The saleswoman, an elegant woman in her 50s, recognized me. Mr. McLean, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Hello, Patricia. I'm looking for a gift for my daughter. It's her birthday. Wonderful. Something special? I chose a Cartier bracelet with diamonds for $8,000. Expensive, but beautiful, and Bridie loved expensive jewelry. I hoped the gift would soften her mood. On Saturday morning, Bridie called me herself. Hi, Dad. Thanks for the flowers. They're beautiful. I sent her a bouquet of 100 white roses, her favorite flowers. Happy birthday, sweetheart. What are your plans for tonight? I'm going to Zuma with my friends. Samantha is throwing a party. Zuma was an expensive Japanese restaurant in downtown Miami, a favorite hangout for the city's wealthy youth. It was a noisy, trendy place with prices to match. Sounds fun. Can I join you? I have a gift for you. Pause. Dad, it'll just be my friends. Young people. You'll be bored. I just want to congratulate you. 5 minutes. Well, okay. We'll be there at 8. Great. See you there. At 7:30, I was already at the restaurant. Zuma greeted me with loud music, neon lighting, and a crowd of people between the ages of 20 and 35. I felt out of place among the young people in designer clothes, but I decided not to pay attention to it. Bridie was sitting at a large table in the center of the room, surrounded by 8 people, friends I knew by sight but not well. They all looked like successful young professionals or children of wealthy parents. Expensive clothes, expensive watches, and expensive hairstyles. "Happy birthday, dear. You look stunning." She did look beautiful in the red dress I had bought her a month ago. Her hair was styled in curls, her makeup flawless. "Thank you. Sit down, I'll introduce you to my friends." She introduced me to the group. Samantha, her best friend, was the daughter of a hotel chain owner. Brad worked for his father's investment company. Christina was a model. The rest had similar backgrounds. Young, beautiful, rich, or trying to look that way. "Mr. McLean," Samantha said too loudly. "Bridie talks about you so much. Hopefully good things." "Of course. She says you have 7 sporting goods stores. That's amazing." "Thank you." I sat down in the empty seat next to her daughter. The waiter immediately approached the table. "What would you like to order?" he asked me. "He's not eating," Brandy said sharply without looking at me. "He'll be leaving soon." There was a coldness in her voice that made me shudder. Several people at the table exchanged glances, clearly sensing the tension. "Bridie, what? You came just to congratulate me, right? So congratulate me." The waiter stood nearby, confused, not knowing what to do. "Would you like to order something after all?" he suggested. "I said he's not eating," Bridie repeated louder. "He has more important things to do than hang out with us." Samantha tried to lighten the mood. "Bridie, maybe you shouldn't." "It's okay, Sam. My father is a very busy man. He has new interests." She pronounced the last word with particular emphasis, and I realized she was referring to Serena. "Bridie, can we talk in private?" "About what?" "Your new passion?" "Everyone here is family. You can speak openly." Her friends sat tensely, realizing they were witnessing a family quarrel. "Honey, today is your birthday. Let's not ruin the celebration." "My celebration? Dad, do you even understand what it's like to see your father dating some gold digger 6 months after your mother's death?" Several people at neighboring tables turned in our direction, drawn by the raised voices. "Bridie, stop it." "Not here." "Why not here?" "Are you embarrassed in front of people?" "Wasn't I embarrassed last time when you made me sit at the same table with this woman?" "Enough." I took the box with the bracelet out of my pocket and placed it on the table in front of her. "Happy birthday. I hope you like it." Bridie didn't even look at the gift. "What is this? Another bribe to keep me quiet? Or payment for approving your new novel?" "It's just a gift from a father to his daughter. From a father who forgot his mother existed 6 months after she died." "I didn't forget anyone." "No? Then explain to me how you can sleep in the same bed where mom died and date another woman at the same time." The silence at the table became deafening. Even the music in the restaurant seemed muffled. "Bridie, that's enough," I said quietly. "No, Dad. I want you to know that as long as that woman is in your life, I'm not there." She got up, took her purse, but left the gift on the table. "Samantha, enjoy yourselves without me. The bill is on Dad. He has plenty of money." And she left, leaving me sitting at the table with 8 young people who looked at me with a mixture of curiosity and sympathy. "Excuse me," I said, getting up. "Have a good rest of the evening." I put $500 on the table, picked up the box with the bracelet, and left the restaurant in silence. On the way home, I thought about what had happened. Bridie had publicly humiliated me, and it was even more painful than her words in the family circle. She did it on purpose in front of witnesses to cause maximum pain. At home, I poured myself a whiskey and sat in my chair for a long time, staring at the box with the bracelet. $8,000 for a piece of jewelry that my daughter didn't even bother to look at. On Monday morning, I arrived at the office earlier than usual and called the bank first thing. "Good morning, this is Harris McLean. I want to cancel several automatic payments." "Of course, Mr. McLean." "Which ones?" "The monthly transfers to Bridie McLean's card. The account number is such and such, and the rent payment for the apartment at 322 Brickell Avenue." "Understood. From what date should we stop the payments?" "From today." "Done. Anything else?" "No, thank you." Then I called the management company that rented Brandy's apartment. Good morning, this is Harris McLean. I will no longer be paying the rent for the apartment on Brickell Avenue for Brandy McLean. Understood. Who will be paying now? She will. If she doesn't pay, proceed according to the contract. Okay, Mr. McLean. Cole came to see me around 10 in the morning with the reports, but when he saw my face, he put the documents aside. What's wrong? I told him about last night. My God, Cole said. She really did that? In front of 8 witnesses. What are you going to do now? I already did. I stopped all payments and apartment payments. Cole was silent for a few seconds. Dad, are you sure? This is a serious step. I'm quite sure. Bridie is 28 years old. It's time she took responsibility for her words and actions. What if she can't find a job? What if she gets evicted? Then that will be her choice. I can't support an adult daughter who publicly humiliates me. I understand, but she's your daughter. That's exactly why I didn't expect this from her. I waited for Bridie to call me the following week, but the phone remained silent. Serena didn't ask about what had happened at the restaurant, but I could see she was worried. How are things with your daughter? She asked on Wednesday at dinner. Nothing yet. She's not talking. Don't you regret what you did? No, she crossed the line. But you love her. Of course I do. But love doesn't mean you have to put up with disrespect. On Friday, the management company called me. Mr. McLean, we've had to begin eviction proceedings against Bridie McLean. She hasn't paid her rent for the current month. I see. She claims you've changed your mind and will resume payments. No, I won't. Then we are forced to act in accordance with the contract. The apartment must be vacated in a week. Okay. The following Wednesday morning, I was working in the office with supplier documents when the door flew open and Brandy burst into the office. She didn't look her best. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes were wrinkled, and her eyes were red from crying. Dad, what have you done? Good morning, Bridie. Have a seat. I won't sit down. I'm being evicted. Do you understand? I'm being evicted from my own apartment. It's not your apartment. It's a rented apartment that I paid for. It's the same thing. I've been living there for 3 years. You've been living there at my expense. I'm your daughter. You're obligated to support me. Bridie, you're 28 years old. I'm not obligated to support an adult. After everything you've done to me because of that whore of yours. Watch your language. I won't. She destroyed our family. Mom's not even cold in her grave, and you're already sleeping with someone else. That's not true, and you know it. What's not true? That you're sleeping with her, or that Mom just died? What's not true is that Serena destroyed the family. You're destroying the family with your behavior. Me, I'm protecting my mother's memory. You're acting like a spoiled little girl who's afraid of losing her privileges. Bridie moved closer to the table, leaning on it with her hands. Give me my money back, Dad. Give me my apartment back. I'm your daughter. You can't abandon me. I won't abandon you, but I won't support you until you apologize to Serena for your behavior. What? You heard me. Apologize to her for your insults and I'll resume payments. Are you crazy? I won't apologize to that gold digger. Then find a job. What kind of job? I don't know how to do anything. You'll learn. Other people manage somehow. Dad, please. Tears welled up in her voice. I can't live without money. I have habits, needs. Then it's time to get rid of them. You can't be so cruel. It's not cruelty, it's growing up. Bridie straightened up. Her tears dried. Her face hardened. Fine. Now I see your priorities. Some random woman is more important than your own daughter. Serena has nothing to do with it. It's your behavior. Of course she does. You're choosing between me and her, and you chose her. I'm choosing between respect and disrespect, and I choose respect. You know what, Dad? Go to hell with your respect, and your precious Serena can go to hell too. I hope you'll be happy together when you're all alone. She turned and headed for the door. Bridie, I called. What? If you change your mind, if you want to apologize, you know where to find me. You'll be waiting a long time. She slammed the door so hard that the windows rattled. I sat at the table, staring at the closed door. For the first time in my life, I felt that I could really lose my daughter. Not physically, but emotionally, forever. But there was no choice. If I gave in now, if I gave her the money back without an apology, Brandy would realize that she could manipulate me with tantrums and threats. And that would mean the end not only of my relationship with Serena, but of any attempt to build a new life. That evening, I told Serena about my conversation with my daughter. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Bad, but it's the right thing to do. Maybe we should try to find a compromise." "What compromise?" "She needs to understand that she can't control my life." "What if she doesn't understand?" "Then that's her loss, not mine." Serena took my hand. "Harris, I don't want to be the reason for the rift between you and your daughter." "You're not the reason. The reason is that I've let her act like a child for too long." "But still, no, Serena. I've made my choice, and I'm not going to change it." She nodded, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. And to be honest, deep down, I had my doubts too.